It's definitely one of the most important focal points in the city.
St. Anne's Parish is historic. Goes back over 160 years. It's one of, I believe, the 10 oldest church parishes in our diocese.
I came here in 1958, that's 63 years ago, as a young bride. I heard the bells ring the Angelus 3 times a day.
St. Anne's, in my opinion, is like the nucleus of Youngsville. Church Street comes right to the front doors of the church.
It's historical. It's been here 150 years, if not a little longer, and I want it to be here another 150 years.
When you come to Youngsville, the first thing you see is St. Anne's Church, and everything else is around it.
A lot of people move here because of the community, because it's such a good community, low violence community. The schools are good. Our pastor is wonderful.
Father Russo came to us just before COVID, and it was on his first homily that really just kind of grabbed both of us.
I think it was just God's timing for me. I just kind of heard God's word through Father Russo in a way that I really had never experienced it before.
Father Russo has helped breathe a lot of new life into the parish.
We love the parish. We love Father Russo. We prayed for a shepherd, and God sent us a beautiful, faithful shepherd.
We're expanding. You can look around and see all the neighborhoods and the growth. The church is just not big enough to accommodate.
We have that need to be able to accommodate people. They're not going to come to church if they have to stand up for worshiping.
And your church should be your home. You should feel comfortable in it. You shouldn't have to feel stuffy and squished. We should feel free and have space to be able to invite our friends and our family to come with us to Mass.
There was very little renovations that took place over the 150 years that the church has been here. And so with the vast potential for a lot of parishioners, particularly young people, we see the potential of getting a lot of these new people into the parish.
When they say, we don't want it to change, I say, well, do you still live in your grandparents' old house? And so, no, I've built a new house, and because I want new and modern things. And we have to look at the church as that too. So it is God's home, but it is a building, and a building that needs to be maintained and needs to be updated, and it's going to be wonderful the things we can add to it.
It's a lot of new families. They're younger. They all have younger kids. We need to have the cry rooms that are larger and that they can hear the masses and be comfortable back there.
I think with Youngsville being the fastest growing city in the area, we've seen a lot of other infrastructure in terms of restaurants and buildings, commercial buildings, new homes going up. And so I think it's only fitting that we have a new church that's going to keep up with the spiritual infrastructure that Youngsville needs.
First, there was a discussion of building a new church at a different location, but the local people, the people that have been here all their lives, just were totally against it, which we understood. And so Father took that into prayer, took that into consideration, meeting with the architect, was able to design a new church using this existing church too. So it's going to be a combination of both churches together, the old and the new.
I think when you walk into this current church, it's almost hallowed ground to feel the ancestors that came before us, because it's 125, 150 years old, and no one would ever want to do away with that level of history.
Now, with the new addition to this church and preserving what we have here, my prayers and many of the parishioners, the older ones, are so happy that we have this priest that has gotten an architect not to destroy. This is just brick and mortar, but it's also memories. It's a legacy.
And so when I enter this church, even though we're building a new church, it'll still be St. Anne's. The old church will still remain here, and I hope in the new church to have that same feeling.
St. Anne's always has been the center of this community. as far back as people can remember, even before it was Youngsville, when it was Royville.
St. Anne's was always here since the 1800s, and that St. Anne's is here right now, and that it's going to be here for a long time in the future.
St. Anne always is in my life. Not the building. This building could burn up and we'll build another one, but the faith, the beauty of the tabernacle with Christ in it brings me so much satisfaction.
I believe that this church expansion is going to be an awesome opportunity for young families like us to really build a future here.
The legacy, to me, the Capital Campaign honoring your grandmothers is just a beautiful idea.
I think that is the most beautiful thing that we could have come up with as far as the campaign logo is honoring our grandmothers. And St. Anne is a grandmother, and we all have them. I'm a grandmother.
There is something so comforting about a maternal figure, such as a grandmother. You know, grandma's always there. And so in the beauty of St. Anne's and through the Capital Campaign and being able to honor our grandmothers through our donations and in memory of them and pray for them intentionally during this time, to me that's such a beautiful representation of St. Anne's, the church parish, always.
The Capital Campaign is important to me because it's a rare opportunity in life. There aren't many things that come across our paths where we can put a fingerprint on something that will last far beyond our existence here. And I feel that that's what this project is all about. That's what attracted me to get involved. It's an opportunity for me as a deacon and as a faithful Catholic to put my fingerprint on a project that will be here long after I'm gone.
I think he's approaching it that our giving should be sacrificial. And if it's too easy, if the amount that we're just thinking about as our financial donation is too easy, then we need to stretch some more. We need to take it into prayer. We need to let it pinch. We need to let it be a little more difficult, because only then will it be truly sacrificial.
I just hope that all people realize that however small your gift is, it's great.
St. Anne has helped me to grow so much in my faith. Has helped me through the grief of the loss of my son in so many ways.
I'm the woman I am, the Catholic, the Christian I am today because of my church parish.
It is very personal. St. Anne's for me it's changed my life.
I know that as pastor of St. Anne's, in order to make this Capital Campaign successful, I can't just make it about money. I have to spiritualize the message. And part of that is introducing my parishioners to the biblical story of Abraham. Recall, he is an old man without a child, and after years of waiting, God grants to Abraham a son, Isaac. And then God asks Abraham to sacrifice his son. And Abraham, we are told, passes this test of love and fidelity. He's willing to give back to God a sacrifice. But the story of Abraham teaches us that when we give to God, He always gives back to us 100-fold. I would never ask my parishioners to do what I myself am not willing to do. And so I'm going to give my financial sacrifice as well. And I know that for it to be something beautiful for God, it has to be a sacrifice. It has to hurt me a bit. And so no gift will be unappreciated. No gift will be too small. Remember, it's not about the amount. It's about the sacrifice made in order to give the amount. It is a tremendous privilege to be able to oversee the construction of a new church in our diocese. And it's always a blessing when we're making the lives of other people better, when we're fulfilling the needs, a legitimate need for the future.
I am.
I am. I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
We are St. Anne's.
St. Anne's.
St. Anne's always.
entrusting our efforts to St. Anne, our patron, the grandmother of Jesus, also to St. Joseph, the master carpenter, to St. Francis Cabrini, who built numerous institutions throughout our country. I am St. Anne's always.